This conference will now be recorded.
Hello everyone. Let us get started with our today's session. Can someone just confirm if you are able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you for that. So in our previous sessions, so we have seen about TOSCA, so how we can create workspace, what is this single user workspace, multi-user workspaces. So all those things we have seen, and about the standard modules as well that are available in TOSCA. So today we'll look into the modules part, so module section, why we generally need modules and how we can create and use xscan option, and then how we can identify basically any elements in Tosca. So those things we'll be looking into it. So if I just have to give you brief, so once we create our a multi-user workspace, so can someone just say or have any idea on why we need to use multi-user workspace and why we shouldn't be using single user workspace? Anyone has any idea?
Multi-user we will use as per the based on the projects, like if you're having multiple people in a team, so that work if we are using single workspace means it is work like our local repository. So if it is multi-user means it will work as a team repository, so where we can push our code to the main repository.
Correct, exactly. So in general, even in the projects that we work on, so we would not be the only single person who would be working on that project, right? Even if it automation project or whatever project we work on, so we will not be the only person who is working on that. So we would have a few people in our team, and the team would be working on the same project. So since we would be sharing our project or the artifacts that we do in Tosca, and then our code share across our team. So if it is a single user workspace, we cannot share the code with an easier effort. So still we can share the code if we want it, but not with a proper approach is what we would do it. So instead we have the multi-user concept here, where we can create the workspace in multi-user repository kind of thing, a common repository where the code would be stored. So whatever we write in our Tosca, everything that gets stored into a repository or database, and from there to whichever people or whoever is working on this within our team, whoever wants to work on the same project, they can just access the repository, the database, a common repository that we have shared. So with that, they would be able to add and update or uh, work or update your Tosca project or the workspace based on the test cases. So if we say we have different people in our team, and each individual is working on some set of test cases, once they complete that set of test cases, everyone at the end of the day, they generally push or send their code and save their code, not in their local machine but in the server. So the server would be our common repository that we share across. So while accessing that server, the common repository, so we would also give authentications, right? So username, password, we generally try to create for each user. So user one, user two, so let's say we have four people in our team working, so for all four users, uh, so whoever is maintaining this workspace, or a lead or manager who is handling this Tosca uh, automation part, then he or she, they will try to create the usernames. So username for each different user, they would create the user, and then you would have it. So when you are accessing the common repository from the database, so from that repository, so you would have to provide the credentials. So only if you provide valid credentials, then only you will be able to access the repository and add or update and make any changes in the repository. Else if you don't have, you won't be able to access it. So here that is what, as soon as you get the code from the common repository, when you try to open the workspace, which is a multi-user workspace, so that multi-user workspace would ask you to enter the login credentials. So if it was a single user workspace, directly we can access it, right? No authentication is required in that. But then since this is a multi-user workspace, so proper credentials with some details, so our lead or be it manager, whoever has created the credentials, they would share the credentials through a chat channel or whatever process we have, and then we would be entering our username and password here. So while creating, I have created by default, we would be creating with admin user, and password I've created with empty. So I'll just try to log in with those username and password. Once the credentials are correct, then we will be able to access the workspace. So if you see, I am now able to access the workspace, common repository workspace that we have. So from this, so now we can uh, do our work. So what we want to do, let's say if you want to create test cases, we would go to the test case folder, and then we would implement or create the test cases that we have. So likewise, create modules, create all these things, whatever is required. So this is about multi-user repository, and we would get that login window, and we have to enter the login credentials. Once we do that, so since we are aware of this one multi-user workspace which we are working on, and this so what I'm doing, like checking check out all these things, so this I will explain you tomorrow, not today. So for now, uh, for today I'll just let you know what is this modules and why, how we can identify any elements and in Tosca. So this probably is would be an important interview perspective, that question, wherein what this module is, how would you identify elements in Tosca, what are the approaches, can you just give a brief, is what they can question. So to answer that, so if you see modules in general, why do we need modules? So whenever you are kind of creating a test case, so let me just open uh, the batch component folder. So initially, so what I did is, as soon as we have access to the workspace, so within this workspace, so here what we will be doing is, we are just kind of structuring our Tosca project. So wherein I just want to create one folder. So to create one folder, I will right click on the workspace, and then we have something called create component folder. So I'll just click on this, and then I'll get this component folder, and within this, so I can create different component folders. Once I have this component folder, within component folder, what it exists. So what generally a component folder is, it's nothing but basically just same like the test cases or the other module section, we have all these sections. So instead of accessing this under ITS, the common thing, what we can do is we can segregate furthermore. So we would create one more component folder, like let's say I just create one component folder here, and then this component folder, let's say if you are testing anything, or in general we would have something called sandbox thing. So we create, and then based on this sandbox for different particular users, so team one to, so team member one or user one, we create different folders here. And then what this folders would consist of again, so let's say we have four members, so those four members, they would have the sandbox folder, and each individual person would be working on their respective sandbox folder only. So user one, uh, user one, if the user one has to create any test case or modules or anything in Tosca, then he or she would be executing or creating a- anything, a test case or a module within this component folder only, that is allocated by your lead or manager. So in this, so if we want to create test cases, so test cases could be created in a folder called test case, right? So in component folder, again, if we have it, we can create test case by right clicking on this, and from this context menu you can select option called create test case folder, so which is this color, right? So if you click this, so test cases, now if you want to create any test cases within this test case folder, you can create test cases. So like test case 1, test case 2, so whatever test case you want to build, that you will be creating under test case section. Likewise, apart from test case, so if you are creating any test case, so if you want steps, so steps basically what we will have, so that as a module is what we created, and then modules we will call in our test case. So in the test case, as a test step is what we will have the module. So if we want a modules now, so how we can get module, so right click on the component folder that we want, and then here you have this color, so create component modules folder. So click on this and then module folder would be there. So here now you can create your own component folder. Why we are creating subfolders inside this and working in this option is, uh, so if everyone has the same test cases folder, and if everyone one is using, if one is using and creating some test cases in the common thing, for the other user parallelly at the same time, the other user won't be able to create test cases in the same thing, because it's been parallelly used by the other user. So Tosca handles that code conflict kind of thing in this approach. So wherein it allows only one user to work on the selected component. So if we are the one who is working on this particular test case, so we will only select or tell Tosca that we want to work only under this folder. So other than that, all the other folders would be accessible or easily accessible by other person in the team, whoever wants to do that. So same way, user one, user two. So likewise, if we have 10 users, 4 users, sandboxes is what we generally create it, and within this thing, each individual would be creating their own test cases, their own modules. And then once it is completed, this test cases that is completed, then they will move it a common place, either in test cases or anywhere. We would have that flow or that structure in the real time. How we do it, I will explain you in our later classes. So for now, we will just focus on our modules thing. So I was talking about modules, how we can create and use this xscan. So, and why do we generally need modules? So if you see why we need modules, can anyone has any idea in the demo session I've just explained, or with that part, hope if anyone have got any idea on why we need modules?
The common functionality or the common, we could say in simple way, methods, we will save it in the modules, and wherever we need in the test case we will bring that one, and we will add it into the test case, like uh, browser URL, I mean sorry, application URL and login and logout functionalities, the common, mostly the common functionalities which we will write.
So yeah, partially you are correct, but it's not only the common things. So why we generally need modules in Tosca is, so if you would say, so from Tosca, what is that you want to achieve? So you want to tell Tosca that I want to automate so and so application, and then in that application, so let's say the application that I want to automate is this demo web shop. So if I'm opening this, so what if I want to automate, what I'm doing, I would open the browser and launch this application, and then in this application, what I have to do, so I would want Tosca to click on this register thing or click on this login button or the link. So all this step, so what Tosca has to do from this particular Tosca to the application that we want to test. So there should be some way to tell Tosca to do this, right? So that's where we
Correct.
need modules. So modules help us to interact. Basically, it helps to interact Tosca and so basically interaction between your Tosca and application under test. So whatever application you are testing, and from Tosca, if you want to interact with any application, that is where we would need modules, and we would scan the module. So how we can tell Tosca that we want to work on this particular module, and then this particular element, this particular thing. So we create this as a module through scan xscan option. We create it, and then we tell Tosca that we want to work on register link, and we want to click on that, or enter first name, enter last name, enter this fields, whatever we have here. So through Tosca, if we have to tell it, that is where we would need to create modules in our thing. So here, now how we can create a modules. So to create a module in Tosca, so let me just give some thing. So go to your modules section, right? So you have your module section here. So just right click on that modules section, and from this option you have something called scan, and then in the scan you can you have different options that are available. From this we would pick application, because we want to automate an application which is web based. So web based application if you want to automate, so in the scan, right click on this, select scan option, and in scan we can select application. Now when we click that, starting xscan is what TOSCA shows. With that, what all applications is enabled, or what all system applications you have in your whatever in your system. So xscan, or that select scan of that TOSCA window, that shows you all the active applications that you have. So from this you have to tell TOSCA that on which particular application you want to work. So you have to go and select that particular uh, window. So since we want to automate this web-based application which is demo web shop, this thing, then from this we will go there, select this, click, and then click on click on scan option. So as soon as we click that, so with this module option we are now telling TOSCA that we want to interact with this application. And in this application, so if okay, first thing it should be just this part, right? So I'll just close it again, I will show you. So here we have this here in our TOSCA in the module section. So if you want to interact with this, so once we have opened the application, the next action on the page that we do is clicking on register link. So that is our next step, right? So to from TOSCA, if we want to perform this action, so first thing we have to scan a module. So why we are scanning? Because we want to interact with this particular application from TOSCA. So that is why we would scan. So how we would scan? Right click on the modules folder, go to option called scan, and here select application. So once you click this, so which particular application you want to automate or interact with from TOSCA. So I want to interact with this application which is demo register web shop. So I will click it and then click on scan. So this xscan window would be opening. Now in this, so xscan window gives us n number of elements here. So if you would see, we have different things, and we have something called properties and all options. For now, from this window, what exactly you would want. Now if you would see your application, so from application I want to interact with register link, or register this thing, right? Or login link, or any other thing that I want. So from TOSCA I need to say that I want to work on this particular elements, so the specific things. So to do that, from this window we would select, we have some option here in the advanced view. Here you will have option called select on screen. So just click on this particular option, and then with this select on screen option we are telling TOSCA that from this particular screen I want to interact with register link. So I will select that register link thing. So I just mouse over on this, and then I will get that element added in my xscan, so this window. And then if it is not register, or apart from register, I would also interact with login link. So I will go select this login link. As soon as I select, that element would be getting added here. So likewise, if any other elements that you want to interact with, not only immediate but even in future, or even after few steps, so on this particular page if you want to interact with any of the elements, then you would go there, select on screen, and keep on adding the elements that you would be interacting with. So I've just selected here register and login for now, and I would say I'm fine with this particular module. That's it. So I will click this, select this. So with this, now I have created a module here. Okay, I have created a module with two elements which I would be interacting with. So one is register link, and one is another is login link. So now after selecting or telling TOSCA which element to interact with, so what is the next step? So the next step here would be, you have to make sure TOSCA identifies whatever element you are selecting as unique. So how we can see or tell TOSCA that the element whatever it is considering, is it unique or not? So on this particular window when you select, so you see towards bottom left here, you would have some message here. So the selected item is unique. So the Tosca is showing whatever element you have selected, it is unique. So and then if you select login, so this also it shows unique. If you show the module, this is also unique. So everything is unique. By default you can just consider it is unique. But in case, let's say if it is not unique, so how we can know from the selected items that we want if few things are not unique? So how we would come to know? We would come to know it when, so yeah, so if you see now from the module that we have selected, okay, from the modules in the element that we have selected, you see this login, we have selected register, we have selected login. Now login, if I just click it, the selected item is unique. And then here we are also saying one item is not unique. What is that one item which is not unique? So here for visual purpose, you see the orange colored thing that shows on the element. So that orange color, it means this is the element that is there, it is not unique basically. So that is not unique, and Tosca would not be able to identify this register link or the element whatever it shows as not unique. So from Tosca, if you use that element and then try to perform any action, Tosca would not be able to perform that action, because it will say the element itself is not unique and I'm unable to identify, or I'm unable to know what exactly you want to do on which particular element. So that is why whichever element you will be selecting in from the application, that element, it should be uniquely identified by Tosca. So how an element be uniquely identified in Tosca? So go to the element which is not unique, and then we have something called properties section here, identify by properties. So we were also looking here how we can identify elements in Tosca, right? So in this particular part, we have one thing where we can identify by properties. So now what is the identification by properties method? So this step by step you would have to answer, even in interview they question how you can identify elements in Tosca. So identify by properties. So what is the properties, how we can identify elements? So here we have this properties section, by default we will get it. But even if it is not getting it, let's say if it is closed and we only have this option, so how to get that properties section towards your right is here from this demo webshop, the scan window that you have, from this advanced view, in this go to option called identify by. So from this you have here drop down, click on this, and then you have different options. So if you see all these different options, so these are the methods or ways with which we can identify elements in Tosca, of which the one that we are now discussing is properties, right? So this properties is what we are looking into. So how we can identify element with the help of properties? So go here, select this properties thing, and then if you click this, the properties section would be opened here. And now if you have that properties section, so this register should be identified with some properties now. So what could be the properties? What all properties are available here? If you would say, we have this representation, some different layer, technical layer, and then transition layer, of which out of this, uh, if you see the properties of this particular element, so what are the technical properties if I have to say? So class name for this particular property is ICO register, and then href, we have this property with the value of this, and then we have id empty, we have inner text, we have inner html, outer html. So where are this all properties are coming from? So this properties, actually if you see for this particular web page, so when developer builds this particular application, okay, when developers are building this application, so for each of the element they would add some properties to identify it. What properties developers are writing? So if you want to see on any web page, so this particular link, let's say, so just right click on this and then click on inspect option. So right click and click on inspect option. So this is the backend code for this particular application, and how a specific element is being identified in the back end. So the properties that the developer write it, based on that it identifies. So now what are the properties for register? If you want to see, just right click on this and select inspect, and then here you are able to see now there is some tag called a href with some value, and then there is some class name, this is given this some value, and then there is this register text and closing of bracket. So these things, who has written this thing for your application? Basically the developers, whoever has developed this application, they have written all these things. So class name they have given for this particular property, and some href property, they have also given some text thing. So likewise, not only this, so any other element that you would take. So let's say you're taking this books thing, so when you click on this books, so the property that it has is anchor tag a, so href has this value, and then inner text is this books, so that text, or if it is any other, this search store, so this checkbox. So if you see, it has some tag called input, and the type of that is text. This is a text field, so type they are giving as text. So class name for this particular search box is search box text UI. So all these things, whatever you are seeing, this id, value, name, everything is given by the application developer, whoever has built this. So it is by them it is written. So right, so this property, same thing in Tosca we will get in this property section. So same technical properties that you are seeing now, href, class name, id, or inner text. So these things Tosca arrange in a proper way, and from this particular properties section we can select those elements. So now for register to uh, make it unique or identify, so we have to select the properties. So what properties in general we would have to prefer? So as per the standard or the best practices, so when you are picking of the properties, so first thing, any element which is not unique or you want to make unique from Tosca, then first you should go and see or select the properties. Now even in properties, so even in properties, which particular property you should prefer, because you have n number of properties here, right? So like id, name, text, tag, title, and then here in representation, default name, we have label, we have different things. So from out of all this, the most preferred one would be, or the sequence of order now. So if you have any id, so prefer id. If you have some id here, but id here, do we have any value? So here in this value thing, for this particular element, do we have any value here? The value itself, it is empty, so we don't have id. So if not id, then what is the next preferred thing? So you can go and see if you have any name thing. So if you have any name property, then select that name. Or if not name, then what could be the other things? So here, with some experience, and also with by seeing the elements that we want to interact with, so some idea or the basic idea we also get based on the properties. So what property or what element we are trying to find or search, it is register, right? So in the property section, what we will do is we'll try to find anywhere related to register is what, if we have it. So somewhere related to register, if you see inner text, we have something with inner text as register, so we can pick this property called inner text as register. So when we take this, then what we are saying, so select a property and make that property as unique with the inner text as register. Now if we take it, so this orange color which is not unique, it should basically go. So just click this, and as soon as I select, so now you see the selected item is unique. So I have made register element as unique with the help of property which is inner text as, and the value of that is register. So with this I have made the unique. And if this one would have not been made unique, or let's say, so inner text, if not we inner text we have taken, we take tag a. So if I click tag a, and then if I select this, the selected item is not unique. Does anyone have any idea why I'm selecting tag a and I'm still not getting any unique thing?
Like A tag is related to login also.
Right,
Yes.
so this tag a, which is anchor, which is a link, basically what we represent. So this thing, it is nowhere it is only specific to the element that you have selected, because the property tag A would also be available or have for the other element. So login, so that also has tag A. Or not only that, but then if you would see shopping cart, so shopping cart would also have tag A. So wish list also would have tag A. So if you are taking tag, there are n number of tag A options here, right? So all the links that you have, the tags would be A for all those. That is why from Tosca as well, if you would take tag as A, it is still, it doesn't make unique. So apart from tag A, or you can select multiple options as well. So if not tag A, or apart from tag A, you can take other properties. So other properties could be like inner text, or let's say outer text register. So as soon as I take outer text register, see that orange color has gone, and now it is making unique. Now since this is unique here, we can rely on this and then continue forward. uh, so this is what we would be taking it. What if there was other element with the same name called register? So if we had multiple things, okay, so if we have multiple things, and then for those tag is also A and then outer text is register, so if we have that, then along with that we would have to select some other properties, and the other properties, so it should differentiate from this register 1 and then register 2, or multiple registers thing if we have it. So from that we have to differentiate it by selecting some other unique property. So we have to basically make our element, whatever we want to interact with or work with, make it unique. So unique with whatever properties are available. So you can take even class name icon register. So for the other one, the class name would not be icon register, it could be something else. So say select that, those things, whatever you feel the properties which combining this would make the element unique. So take that things, and then uh, that's it. So this way we would take the properties and make Tosca element, or the elements whatever we would interact with as unique. So with the help of just properties, we are making it as unique. Okay. And same way for login, if you see by default when Tosca is scanning that module, or you're selecting those modules, so or the elements, and Tosca by default selects some properties. So when it selects some properties, whatever you have here, so you have tag A, and then you have inner text of this, so it selects by default, and that is how Tosca is identifying it as unique. But in some cases, if Tosca doesn't identifies it as unique, or you think, okay, even if Tosca is taking this as unique, but it is not reliable, or something, some value keeps on getting changed. Let's say it has taken a property called ID, and then ID here had login one, call this value. So let's say if it has this one, and now Tosca has identified tag A and then ID and then login one. So with this, if Tosca is identifying, still making that element as unique, we would still be not able to rely on this property, because if we see closely to the ID part, so ID part login one is for now, but then once we revisit the page or refresh the page and then see the ID property of that same element, it kind of keeps on getting changed. If it is dynamic part and developer dynamically generating the ID of that element, then the dynamic part or dynamic things, we cannot rely on such properties. So instead, what we can do is we have to go for some other properties that is available. So that could be one. Or again, we can make use of some regular expressions or wildcards here, what we say. So for ID, if you say login one is now, later once you refresh, and sometimes you would get login 100 as the value, or later once you refresh and see the ID of that element, so it gets changed dynamically at every now and then, it is getting changed, and from 100, let's say it has gone to 54, something like this. So different times we would get it, and then but the only thing that we feel, or the constant part, is login. But then after that, whatever the number is there, that keeps on changing. If we are aware of that particular pattern, then in that way also what we can do is, so okay, I can rely on ID, but then number keeps on changing. Other than number, the static text called login would be remains same. So I'll keep login, and after that whatever thing I feel or I see that keeps dynamically or constantly getting changed, then at that part I will just write some wildcard called star. So what does this particular thing mean is, I am selecting an ID property which has login, starts with login, and after login whatever text or whatever number is there, I don't care about. So I would just want to see any of the element or the property on the page which has ID called login, and after that whatever is there I don't care. So you could select that property. So with this particular thing, if it is making unique, then you can rely on this and then continue further. So even then if it is not making unique, or even whatever the properties, so default name, we can select the default name that we have. With the default name, if it is not making unique, or with any other properties, still TOSCA is not able to identify the element with the properties and not making it as unique, then what you can do? So in such case, okay, I'll show you that in the next example. So with this, how we can make this particular element unique: login, select the login thing, and in the tag take this, and then you can rely on any other properties which is login related. So I see default name, so I can even select this default name as login. So there is no other property on the page which has default name called login. That is why TOSCA is identifying this element as unique. Now module as well. So on the module, it is identifying module with the help of title. Title of the page is demo web shop. So where is this title? So this is the title of the page. So the module itself is this. So the title here, it is demo web shop, and I'm fine, the title will be every time this particular thing. So I will rely on this, and then I will just save it. So as soon as we have done with the module that we want, then we click on this save button here. So if you click on this save button here, the module will be getting saved. So it's it gets save a module saved successfully. A module with name demo webshop has been saved. So this, now we have just now created a module where we have created. So before we uh, selected a module, right clicked on the module, and then we selected scan and then selected it. So in this folder, wherever you are right clicked and scanned, under that folder the module name whatever you have just now created, that would be saved. So this here, if you see, this module has been saved now, and it has two elements because we wanted to interact with these two elements only. That is why we have taken two, but this also has some other elements which we are at present, for now, we are not worried about, and then we will only work on these two elements for now. So that is why we have taken only these two things. And what are the properties that with which it has been identified? If you want to see, then select the module, the element, module attribute, what you call, and the element, so register element, and the property of this, if you want to see with what property it has been identified, then towards your right on the screen there is some arrow here, right? Click on this arrow, and here you will be able to see properties section. So whenever you select the specific element property here, so that related properties towards your right on the screen it shows. So this register, so some default things from TOSCA is what you will be able to see. Till here everything by default it generates, so you don't have to worry about what is all this for now. But apart from that, so if you see other things, which is class name, so for this element to select or make it as unique, we have taken a property called class name with ico hyphen register, and the outer text this has register, and the tag is a. So this is the properties that it has been selected to make or identify this element as unique with the help of properties. Same way for login, if you want to see, just select this login here, and the properties you will be able to see. It has identified with the name called default name, property called default name, and the value is login. So same way tag with the value as a. So this is how. And even for module, if you see module, click on this, and then at the end title we have selected for this module, and it is been identified with this particular text, demo web shop. This title is nothing but the page, this particular title. So for different pages, different applications, you would have different title. So when you select the title property of that here in Tosca, for that particular module, in the under the title property, you will be able to see that value. So now we have just now created one module, right? So with this particular module, now in our test case, so let's say I want to create one test case. So modules thing I'm just trying to explain, right? So related to modules, if I just create one test case, so let's say test case one I'm creating for modules. So how so what is our first step that in our test case we would want to do? So we would want to open the browser, Chrome browser, and launch this particular application, right? So our first step inside our test case will be to open the browser. So how we can open the browser and launch the application? So in previous class, in previous sessions, I have already told. So these are uh, the actions that we want to perform: opening of a browser or launching of any application. This is uh, not with respect to any specific application. It is like common across the projects that we would test, right? So that common operations or common actions, what Tosca has done, it has already created some standard modules, and standard modules, within that standard modules we have things. So from there we can take anything. So now what we are looking for, we want to open browser and launch the application. So to open browser or launch the application, we already have a module called open URL. So that open URL, it will be present somewhere in the standard modules, right? That if you are aware of, directly go there and then drag and drop that particular module into your test case. Or if you want that, then right click on the test case where you want the module. So modules basically will be used inside your test cases as a test step. So if you want to add any test steps of a module in the test case, then right click on the test case, and you will have option called search and add test step. So you can select this option, search and add test step, and here you will get the list of modules that are available in your workspace. So list of modules like tbox, clipboard, send keys, windows operation, n number of modules. So this all modules whatever you are seeing are from your standard modules. So all that modules will be shown here. And so any specific modules, if you want to search, give in this search box. So in the search box, I want to search for a module where I know if I want to open the browser and launch any application, I have a standard module called open URL. So I will search for open URL module, and then in open URL module, okay, in open URL module, I will select this module that I'm seeing. So as soon as I select here, now you have that module here. So this module, what is this module? If you right click and jump to module option we have, so you can see where this particular module is coming from. Jump to this, and then you see this is in module standard tbox x engine html, and then open URL. So that module, open URL module, is present inside this standard module. So you have different options as well, but we are looking into this open URL, right? So this module has whatever we have selected is from this standard module.
Can you explain once again? We got some interact.
Okay, right. So what so first step would be, so if you want to what is our first step in our test case that we want to perform? So we wanted to open the browser and launch the application under test. Whatever application we want to test, that application we want to launch. So to do that from Tosca, we already have the modules, so standard modules. Why we have that standard modules? Because opening of a browser and launching of any application is common for any of the projects that you would test, right? So if you're testing Amazon application, or if you're testing any other e-commerce, Flipkart application, or social media apps like Facebook, Instagram, all those applications, the web-based applications, if you want to test those applications, different applications, so first or the common step that you would be doing is opening of the browser, That browser could be Chrome, Firefox, or any other browser. But then first step is to open the browser, and apart from opening of the browser, you would also launch or open the application, right? So those steps that you would be doing, so you don't have to create your own modules for opening of the browser or launching of this. So Tosca, this as a standard modules, it has already given us, so we can make use of the standard modules that is available. So what standard module will help us to open the browser and launch any application, that we will be aware of once you go through the standard modules, and then you will see. And then with this, you need a module called open URL. So that open URL module is what you would need. This module, what it does, so if you want to see, just right click on this module that you have just now created. So right click on this, and you have an option called jump to module. So click on this jump to module, and this module now is coming from standard modules from this folder tbox x engine. In this HTML folder, under that you have this module. So all the standard models you have, but out of this we are working on this open URL module, so we will select this. So what this particular open URL module would do, if you want to learn or know more, then you would get some description. So right click on this column chooser here, and then from this properties, I just select this description thing. And then now if you see this description, so description of open URL, what this open URL does, so opens a URL with a browser based on the test configuration parameter, so called browser. So in general, this is like it opens a URL whatever browser we give. So and then in the URL you just have to give the URL and user active tab, any active tab if you want to specify. This is optional, so you can leave it. So here when you see these things, so open URL, so as soon as you take the open URL, now for the name or the attribute under open URL, you have something called URL. So name URL is your name. So for URL, what is the value? You see this value section, what is the value that you want to give? So whatever value you will give under URL for this open URL module, then upon execution of this particular step, Tosca will try to open the default browser that we have, and opens the application that we, whatever value we give. So we wanted to open application this one, so we will take that URL and go to your module, under URL thing, under the value column you will give. So here I'll give https dot this particular URL I want to open, so I will give that value. That's it. So with this particular step, now what Tosca would do upon execution, if you see, so Tosca would try to execute. So you see it opens the browser, and then it has launched the application whatever value we have given. Instead of this value, if you wanted to open any other URL, then here you would give https colon any other application that you would have. So let's say you want to open any other application, you can give that value. Let's say I want to open google.com, so I'll give google.com here. And then once I execute this step, so now our Tosca should open google.com in the browser. So you see google.com has been opened from Tosca. So we have just automated opening of a browser and launching the application with just help of a standard module called open URL. And under the value section, for this the value column, we have given the value which browser we want to, or which application we want to open. So here I will select this application since I want to test only that application, so I will give that value. With this it opens the demo web shop application, right? So you can rename the steps if you would want. So here I'll say this is uh, opens demo web shop application, right? So with this it will be able to open the application. With this particular step, it opens the demo web shop application, right, on the browser that we want. So defaultly it is there. Later I will show you if we want to change it to it it to any other thing what we have to do. For now I'm fine with this particular step. So what would be our second step in this? So second step would be again to interact or work with a register link, right? So you have to click on that. So to do that, so we have to first tell Tosca that we want to interact with login. To tell Tosca that we want to interact with this particular page, we have to first scan this as a module, and this element you have to select it with which you want to interact, right? So through our xscan window we have selected the module and the elements that we want to interact on the page, right? So we have clicked saved and the module has been created. After that you can close this window and then go to your modules section. Here you have the module name that has been created, so you can rename the module that you would want. So this module is of a register page, right? So you or the home page generally. So this is your home page or the first page of the application, right? So you can name your module as per your need or the requirement whatever you would have that thing. Now if you want to see what module it is there, so in the image Tosca also captures the image while scanning. So if you just double click on this image you will be able to see so which particular page it has scanned. So if you just maximize this, so you see a demo web shop it has captured, and then register login, these two things Tosca has taken this. So if that screenshot towards your module it would be attached, and that elements it would be shown. Now if you want to use it in your test case, you just have to uh, use that module. How you can use? One, with right click on the test case, search and add test step, and name the module that you want to search. And I know I want or the module that I want to use is with the name demo web shop and then home page. So I will just search with demo web shop, demo web shop. So if I search with that, I'm getting different things. Or instead of this you can say just home page, right? So since I've given name for this as home page and I'm getting this one, so if you see it is coming from the same location where I want. So with this I will just click it and select it, and I can make use of that element module in my test case. Or if not this, then directly into your test case. So whichever module you want, go there, click, select this module, and then drag it from here, drag and drop that onto your test case directly. So you don't even have to right click, search for a module and do it directly. You know which module to work on, select it, drag and drop onto your test case. So here with this you have just now added one more step, which is a module. And that step, so in this particular step what you want to do, what is your next action? So we wanted to click on register link, right? So how we can click on register link? So we have different things here. Out of this all module elements or the attributes that are available, we want to interact or work with register link, right? So we will go there to the register link under the value section. So what you want to do? So you would want to, what action generally we would perform on this register? Team, anyone, what action we would
Click,
perform? Click.
click. Yeah.
So same way even for Tosca we would have to say, so on this register I want to click. So how we can say Tosca to click on this particular element? So we have some syntaxes or some methods where we would say Tosca to click on any specific element. So for that you would have to say curly braces, and then we have click, we just have to say click thing. So as soon as we give curly braces and click this thing, closing of this, so with this particular action or value that we have written, we are now telling Tosca, with this only single step we are telling Tosca that go and click where? Click on register link. Where is this register link? It is under this module. Now what is this module? This module is this one. This module has this image, if you see. So on the application, if you would see this particular thing, there on the page you will find register link. So there, click on it. So with this single step Tosca would do clicking of the register link. So I will run only that individual step, you see. So Tosca should open that browser and then it should try to perform that click option. See, mouse has been automatically moved there and it has clicked on register link now. And now Tosca test case after execution, green in color is what we have seen, and the test case got passed. So it is working now, right? So this is what with this step you are clicking. So even the test case. So what is your first step, guys? Here, if you see, it is opens demo web shop. And what is your second step? So demo web shop homepage. But this is not the proper naming convention for your test step, right? So in this, what you have to say, so what exactly action you are trying to perform, that you have to write or rename your module that into the proper test step. So what exactly we are trying to do in this step? Can someone suggest some name for this particular step?
Click on register button.
Exactly.
Register.
So click on register link is what if we say it. So with the name here towards your left, if you would see your steps within your test case, you would see step 1 is open URL or open demo web shop application, and step 2 is click on register link. So then step 3, then step 4. Likewise, you have to rename your steps properly, where one would be easily able to understand what exactly we are trying to do in this particular steps. So this is how you would have to write it. So we have just now created one module, and then we have selected with the help of properties, and we are now able to click this. So same way the next things. So guys, anyone who is from the system, so whoever has Tosca logged in and now has that access, so you create a workspace this way, and then your next assignment or the next things would be, so same way how we have identified register, can you guys be able to scan this next page and then try to perform this fields. So here on this page you would want to register with some details, so some dummy details you can give it, or your own email ID registration thing you can give. So select the gender. So from Tosca you would have to click select the gender, this thing, and then enter first name, enter the last name, enter email ID, password, and then click on register link, this register button. So as soon as you click this, so from Tosca you see if you are able to perform all these actions. So in uh, tomorrow's session, then I will see. So I'll just try to see if this assignment you guys are able to do it, and if anyone have any doubt when they are trying the same thing uh, with the concept that I have explained till now, with that you are able to apply that and make sure you are able to automate this page or not. And if anyone have any doubt when they are automating, so in the next session I'll try to first take that doubts, I'll clear your doubts, and then I will move on with the next things. So how we can identify elements apart from top properties, if we want to identify with any other things, so those all things in the next session I will explain it. So for now with this I'll just stop it and then try to take any questions anyone has anything to ask, or was it clear?
Um,
Yeah.
where is the test step to open the browser?
Open the browser.
Yeah.
So we have just taken this open URL module, and this module itself would be taking care of opening the browser, and then in the URL whatever application URL you will give, launching of that thing, everything two in one, opening of the browser as well as launching of the application would be taken care.
Okay. And in the properties, you have manually entered like some ID, right? ID or name we can enter manually also in the properties.
I
So
have just entered that to show, but then in general for any of the element we cannot take that. So those properties, whatever is been given by the developer only, we can say tell Tosca that pick that values only. We cannot manually give any other values and tell Tosca that okay, this property or this element is this and then pick this. No, we cannot do that.
okay, when the particular element is functioning dynamically, so only then we can give some sort of
Correct.
hint.
Wild
Yeah.
cards there. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Who was this Pranav?
Just I want to ask what is module actually means. Module but basically the collection of web element we can say in the interview.
Exactly. Correct. So
Okay.
those for more details in detail, like in our next sessions, I will explain you what exactly module is. So few things, when we keep on doing it, later you will get more idea on what exactly a module is, what exactly a module attribute is, what is the properties and all. So immediately I just don't want to jump onto some definition kind of thing. With this, some practical thing if we do it, and then you can relate when you read some definition. So that as notes is what also I will give you some notes. There you would read it, and then when you are reading that thing, since you would do it practically, or you would have some practical knowledge, so you would be able to even understand the definition wise thing. So that don't worry
Okay.
about those, I will take care
Correct.
of it. Yeah.
Thank you.
If you are entering into the register, that will be a test step, right? And after we click the register, there is some first name, last name, password,
Yes,
username. So everything, each and everything will be at step there.
correct, all those
Gender is one step, full first name is one step, last name is one step, like that.
so individual step, if you want, you can keep it, or all in one. So you for now try whatever, with whichever means you would do it, you just do that. Once you do that, later when I explain, so when I see or give feedback or suggestion, and then when I try to explain the next concept, there you would be able to relate, should we just create each and every element of this as a different step, or club all the things in one. So those things in later next sessions you will be able to understand more. But from your perspective, whatever understanding you are having, just try to build the logic, or try to perform with the knowledge or the information that you have. And later things we will see it later, guys.
Yeah, Pawan. And one more thing, one last question. The in the Tosca main page, the test cases, modules, requirements, these are appearing in horizontal way.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yes. So
What's
that way, so by default, let's say you have different things here, so you will have this things, likewise you will have all the tabs here. And then if you don't want that, so just right click on any of those and then close all. So you can close all these things and close everything one by one, or right click on that and close all. Once you close it, so if you want to see the complete one as a project, then in the menu section under the project option, click this. So you will be having this, and then you can right click dock as tab. So here you will get this thing. So you will get everything here this way, not horizontal.
okay? Okay, Pawan. Thanks.
Yeah.
So Pawan, in this register page, we have to enter the values in the given. Can we send use the send keyword in this session value?
In the value. So yes, you can even do multiple ways with which you can pass the value to your test cases, or from Tosca to the application you can pass, or directly if you would see our demo session that we have done, so here I was passing some value, right? So click on or enter email ID. So if you see
Mm.
email ID, when I have scanned it, so under this email element, only under the value thing I've just mentioned the value. So you can try directly this value thing,
Okay.
give directly value in this value. So what does this particular step means? So for the step which is enter email ID, the name of the attribute here is email field. So for this email field, okay, for this email field, the value is abc@email.com. So that value. So likewise, if you have any other field, and then this password, if I enter some value here now, so what does this particular thing mean? So first thing, it is like email giving this value, and then another thing, password, and it is giving this value.
Yes.
These things would happen.
Okay. Later in our properties, we are selecting all the like IDs. We can select multiple values like elements ID. We have selected class name for uniqueness. You have added all these
Yes,
elements, no?
yes,
So we can select all the means all the
yes, multiple
elements,
multiple
multiple.
properties you can take it, and make sure your those with whatever properties you are having, the element, if it is unique, then you would be fine. So if you take one element or multiple, there is no issue. Only intention behind this properties selection is we just have to make the element unique. So if it is making unique with one property, take that one property, or if it is making unique with multiple properties, then select multiple properties and make it as unique.
Okay.
Okay, so there is no limitation like min and max properties to select.
Nothing such. But then
Oh,
the best practice would be, so if you see, so you have, it has 10 properties and 10 different properties name you have taken and the values. So out of that 10, when you have taken for any specific element, and later when developer is doing some changes in the application, and when he is doing some changes in the application, if by mistake or intentionally, if developer is changing any of the properties, so out of the 10, let's say you have taken class name and class name, then while building or doing application changes, if developer wanted to change the class name of the property from ico register ICO register to icon, just only icon or only register. Let's say if he has done that change, then with that small change that he has done in the background, so your Tosca steps, wherever you have used that module or that element in your test case, if you have used, and that element takes all the 10 properties. So out of that 10 properties, even if single property is not being matched or if it is being changed, then Tosca won't be able to identify this element. It will say it has to match. It has to match all the properties that you have selected. All the 10 properties, if you have selected, all 10 properties should be matching. If any of those 10 is like not matching, something is failing, then your test step will get failed and Tosca won't be able to identify register, thus won't be able to click on register link due to the properties getting changed or updated.
okay, so that means it won't. It will consider only AND operation with the multiple properties, but it won't consider the. I mean, it won't
Or
accept the OR property or
correct,
condition.
correct.
Okay. Then if it is mostly what even if you were selecting one or two properties and the values of that properties is dynamic, then exactly how can we handle you
Right,
said like we can check the partial name or
correct.
property thing we can take it, but still if in such in few cases might be they will completely rename that property value,
Right. So
then
that
how
is
we can
that is
handle.
that is where if whatever elements we are trying to identify in Tosca. So if we are not able to identify with the help of properties thing, so then we would have different methods. So different methods. So that we will look into our next sessions. There you will get more ideas on, if not with properties, how we can make elements unique. So other methods we will learn in our next session.
Okay, sure. And I'm sorry, I was missed some part. So the assignment is like we should have to automate the register page, right?
Correct. Register page. So same thing in what do you say? So earlier we registered with our email IDs, right? So with any other email ID, you can just come to this place. So manual thing, manual step was to launch the application, click on register, and then on this particular page, you were just entering this fields, right? This values. Same
Mm-hmm.
through Tosca automation. Now you just automate this web page. So this registration page is what you automate. Try to automate, and then while automating it, so whatever doubts, whatever issues you would get, it just make a note of the that, and then we will discuss in the next session.
Sure. Can we use the record one, or specifically we should have to add each and every step, and we should have to do this one?
Don't record. Record option, since we are now practicing or trying to learn all the concepts behind that, so record is what doesn't put any efforts doing that automation. So we want to learn the concepts whatever are available in Tosca. So for that, uh, try to do what exactly I have explained you in today's session. So how you can scan a module, how we can take a property with whatever thing is available, and then use that module into your test case as a test step and perform. So those things, exactly what I did today, that part, that concept, make use of that and try to automate the page.
Okay, sure. Thank you. And I'm having few more questions if you have time, because today only I have joined and I have gone through the previous videos, the previous
Hmm.
4 sessions. Um, I have one small question that since here in Tosca we're having the record option, are
Correct.
do we have any option to convert that manual recording to the script? Because we have that option in test complete. I have some
Correct.
knowledge in test complete, so the same way here also we are having to convert the recording to convert as a script.
Right. So all this recorded thing, once it is recorded, if you have gone through my previous thing, so here this recorded is what we will get modules and test cases, and then test case, recorded test case, that you are seeing it here, and then all this as a test case is what we have now. So this test case
Okay,
we have simply recorded. It is now a Tosca test case, which has this open
okay, okay,
URL, a step, and then demo web shop. So what exactly we are trying to do here? Click on login. X is what it has done, and then T-box send case. It is sending some keys and then doing something. So all these things through recording option is what we have got. So this is
okay,
already it is converted into test case only.
okay. I mean, in test complete directly we can in into the programming language it will convert. So in that
Hmm.
way I have asked. Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
got the point. Since here we are using module structure, uh,
Correct.
so it will give only in the test case steps format.
Correct. Right.
Okay, okay. And I mean, from the training side, I mean, from the training side, I'm having one more question. Uh,
Hmm.
are we get any, I mean, opening updates related to the TOSCA after we completed this training? I mean, any
Uh,
referrals or at least the, I mean, require, I mean, openings in the market, any updates we will get according to that?
So for that, we already have our WhatsApp group created, right? So over the WhatsApp group, we would be kind of any daily updates or anything related to the job openings or whoever is looking for. So we would have this. This is our active group, and wherever whatever things we would want to discuss, we can discuss over there. And then I would also keep on posting the job openings or somewhere if I found it on LinkedIn or be it on Naukri.com. So wherever I would find something job related to Tosca or some emails that I get it from recruiters or anyone, I would forward it in our WhatsApp group.
Okay, okay. And may I know like what is the salary range, because I'm not aware about Tosca. So I'm having some basic knowledge in the automation perspective. I mean, what is the salary range for Java, Selenium with the programming languages? But I don't. I'm not aware about Tosca side.
Right.
Any average range could you give based on your knowledge?
Uh, so if I have to say that, it is like it's obviously nowhere less than Selenium or programming language that one would have. So
Okay.
that one thing I can straight over forward say. So it won't be
Okay.
less than that. Obviously, it would be. We can expect more, but not less. And then I don't think people or the companies would be differentiating the salary range based on the skills that we have. But now Tosca, if you see, only it completely depends on demand and supply, right? So where people or companies have the demand and then the supply is very less. So in such cases, companies could offer more than the other things, and then they try to hire the perfect resource or a good resource who can automate or use Tosca in a better way. So in that knowledge, if you consider, so obviously it would be more than what a normal or programmer would get. Obviously never less than the Selenium. So I see that part.
Okay. Okay. Fine.
Thank you. Any other questions from anyone?
This Tosca, when we perform it, when we do it, it is very clear in our mind. So if anyone asks some question in interview or something, so in our mind it is very clear, but it is becoming difficult when we are trying to articulate the same thing.
Correct.
So would you give any suggestion for the in the perspective
Yes.
of articulating the answer?
Yeah, those things, let us first finish some few sessions, and then after, I'll just share the experiences and then even the previous batches with the people that commonly I have seen. So all those things I had already made a note of that, and I would share those details and those experiences whatever I would have, and I would also let you know how you can answer some things, specific ones, and then if you want to give some more brief, or if you are able to remember something, so all those tips and tricks, so whatever it has to, I will let you all know once we complete few sessions.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Anyone else, anyone wants to ask any
Just
doubt?
just one question. After installing the Tosca first time, so I got one project first step. Can I work on that only, or do I need to create the new one?
What was your question, Pranav? Sorry, didn't get.
Actually, when I installed the Tosca first time in my machine,
Okay.
so by default
Right.
there
Okay, got
the
it. So the default things or default examples, what Tosca would give some workspaces, but then
yes,
you can take the same one, default one, if you want. But then what I would suggest, try to same replicate the thing what I have been explaining. So I have shown you how we can create some workspaces. So even if it is a workspace, single user workspace, what is multi-user workspace? So don't go for single user workspace, because in real time even we would be following multi-user workspace, right? So you try to create multi-user workspace, which SQLite thing I have shown you as an example. So exactly the same thing try to perform in your system, so that you will get some real time hands-on, or you would get some idea on how the application or how things we would be doing in a project. So
sure. Because I missed that part just because of the internet issue. Okay, who will share the recording in that case so that I will refer the recording and I will perform the same.
correct. So our admin team would share those recordings with this. So you can just have our WhatsApp group. You can just message over there, and we would provide you those recordings, Pranav.
Sure. Because today is my first class. No problem.
Oh,
Thanks.
okay, okay,
Yeah,
fine.
yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Any questions? Any doubts?
Oh, Pavan, I'm having 60 version 16. Is that fine? Because I have installed this is previously itself. So
Correct.
currently I'm using that only. So
Yeah, so version kind of thing, if you would see, even I have 16, but then
mhm.
for other peoples would have 2024, 2023 other versions, so it is still fine. So with the different versions, so there would be not any major changes, just some minor things, but then whatever we want to as a practice kind of thing, the concept wise or the features that we would be using, everything would be same. So nothing
Okay,
much to worry about the version differences.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay. Okay, then I guess if no further questions, we are good to close our today's session. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone.